Hey everybody, welcome back. It is the Razzball Fantasy Baseball Podcast. I am Beaton, joined by the one, the only, the fantasy master Lothario himself, Gray Albright. How's it going over there, Gray?
Hey man, what's going on? I actually I don't know if I mentioned this previously, but I was hired earlier this year to notify the Dodgers about the upcoming trade deadline. So I have to make sure, but by the end of this podcast, I want to make sure I send them a reminder that the deadline is this Thursday, right? It's coming up.
I think you are a little behind. You may have lost that cushy position, Gray.
Wait, what? All I had to do is set an iCal reminder. Are you sure? I was told specifically it was August 7th. Is that wrong? I could have sworn I saw that. Yeah. So the Dodgers did nothing. What was that, dude? Wait, honestly, this is more real baseball versus fantasy baseball, but how do you spend $1 billion on a team and then not go out and get anyone to make your team better at the deadline, right? Like, was that the craziest thing you've ever seen? Honestly, this is now what, 4 days later, and I am still kind of flabbergasted. I am full of flabber/gassed. I am absolutely flabbergasted. I can't believe that the Dodgers didn't, like, Merrill Kelly, Charlie Morton, even just some innings, you would think, just something. Oh man, they really were like, yeah, we're getting Blake Snell back on Saturday. We're fine. We are good. Anyway, trade deadline.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when you've spent that much money, you're kind of like, well, if you can't make it happen with that much money, what are we paying you for on the coaching side? I mean, it's a pretty solid team still, Gray, and they do have just, I mean, if any other team lost like 5 starters in a season, that would devastate the fan base, and the Dodgers are still like, oh, we're cruising in first. It's fine. It's not a big deal. We'll be all right.
They are barely holding it together. I mean, cruising is that is a very optimistic view as to what they are doing. They have Ohtani, who can barely throw 3 innings. They have Blake Snell, who's been out for like 4 months. Kershaw, who is 103 years old, and Emmett Sheehan, who can't throw 4 innings. And Glasnow, who is made of glass. I don't think they're cruising, but I don't know, man. I might be a little too plugged in from living in Los Angeles.
I think you've just listened to too many local shows, Gray. Any team in first with the number of injuries they've had, I mean, it feels like it's just cruising for them. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. It is. I mean, you're right. It's, you look at the pieces and it's like, well, they're piecing it together, but also like, who else? I mean, it's really just the Padres. The rest of the division is terrible. So
the Padres had a great trade deadline.
They did a lot of stuff, but let's talk about the Padres, Gray, since they did so much stuff. Let's get into them. They started with the bullpen. They got Mason Miller. They added JP Sears as well. He's a little bullpen, little starter, kind of both ways. They got the biggest return in this one, which is Leo DeVries, and then a few other prospects. The prospect side we'll just kind of leave for a different show. They're not going to really be involved for redraft purposes. If they are, we'll talk about them. But what do you think about this move here? Let's start with the Mason Miller move, Gray.
Well, this kind of floored me because I was 100% sure that Mason Miller was going to be the closer for the Padres. I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. I was convinced I wouldn't have dropped Mason Miller. I thought Mason Miller was going to be excuse me, I wouldn't have dropped Robert Suarez until everything shook out to make sure. But I definitely was on the verge of being like, oh, I've lost Suarez. Like I was pretty much convinced I lost Suarez. I didn't drop him anywhere, but I was like, well, yeah, I mean, obviously Mason Miller is going to be a closer. So that was completely wrong. I misread that situation. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Mason Miller moving into the 8th inning gives the Padres probably one of the best 8th inning guys. I would say if Suarez stumbles, I would think Miller probably moves into the closer role, but for now, I mean, he is the 8th inning guy, and yeah, I mean, you don't get much better than that. I sort of from a real baseball standpoint, I love it. From a fantasy standpoint, if I have Mason Miller, I'm kicking rocks. I'm not happy. I think you hold on to Miller though, because he is so good that I wouldn't necessarily drop him in any league. Especially if Suarez stumbles, then you want to make sure you have Miller for that reason. But even if Miller's not getting saves, he's still valuable for fantasy from a ratios / strikeout standpoint. So I would hold on to him there. But yeah, it's a crushing blow for your Mason Miller shares. It's not good news. And then over in Sacktown, where Mason Miller left, I would say probably, it was Perkins for like a half a second. Everyone thought it was going to be him, but I guess it's Sean Newcomb is probably the guy. But I wouldn't necessarily run out and grab Sean Newcomb. It could also be, I believe, Michael Kelly. But again, neither of them have been terrible. But they also, it's the A's. It's kind of whatever. Unless you're desperate for saves, I would try and look elsewhere. It depends on the league and your level of desperation. But yeah. But going back to the Padres, yeah, I mean, it's a great move for real baseball. It sucks for Mason Miller's fantasy value, and keeps Robert Suarez. I guess there's a little bit of a hot Jason Adam behind Suarez was always great anyway. So it was kind of like he already had someone breathing down his neck, but now he's basically got like Dracula on his neck. I mean, he's really like Suarez is really at like, if he stumbles just even the slightest bit, I mean, I would assume they have to go to Miller. I know it's kind of funny that I feel like the move was done simply because Mason Miller is cheaper. And Suarez is probably out the door, which is kind of funny because it's like the Padres trade away their entire farm system. What do they care who's cheaper or not? I don't know. It doesn't really make sense, but yeah, I would say hold on to Mason Miller, but he loses a lot of his value.
Yeah, I wonder if some of it is trying to also appease Suarez so that he opts in and is a cheap closer for them next year versus, him opting out and then having to replace him. So there might be a little bit of, trying to keep him happy in that as well. But Miller's also just really good. So I agree. Go ahead and hold on to him. And I think in dynasty leagues, it could be a potential opportunity to buy Miller because he's not listed as the closer currently. He, as long as Suarez doesn't screw it up, he's probably not closer this year, but he should be next year. Even if Suarez comes back, you got to think at some point they're going to let Miller take it. He's just better. So I think it's actually a buying opportunity in dynasty where, especially if that owner is going for it, you might be able to swap him out for another closer or whatever that team needs at the time.
I would be shocked if Miller's not the closer for the Padres next year. I mean, things happen, but I'd be pretty surprised. I was actually, speaking of surprise, I was kind of surprised at how much Mason Miller went for in Fab, like in my NL only leagues. Like I know it's NL only. Miller does have value, but he went for like out of 1,000, I want to say like $500 or something, like something crazy. He went for a lot. I forget exactly, but he went for way more than I was willing to bid. I think he might actually went for 700 out of 1,000, something like that. It was a lot. Whatever it was a lot. Yeah. I think Mason Miller is, I think he's valuable in NL only, but I mean, that's a steep price out of 1,000.
It is. And in our NL only on CBS, he went for 75. I had $63 left for this time of year, which for me is miraculous. I'm usually just about out of fab money and I'm scraping every dollar. So I was like, oh, I'm going to get somebody this year. I tied for Ryan O'Hearn and lost the waiver bid because I'm currently in first in that league. So I lose all waiver bids if it's a tie. So I didn't get anybody because I just put in all my money on the top guys. And yeah, Miller went for 75. And you got somebody who we'll talk about later for 75 as well.
Yeah.
And the guy.
Yeah, I mean, actually, Ryan O'Hearn. Well, I mean, I guess we are on the Padres, but yeah, Ryan O'Hearn went for $773 in my NL out of 1,000. I mean, clearly out of 1,000, but still, like, that's a lot. I don't know what that team's needs were, but I feel like that's a lot. Ryan O'Hearn was a guy who I would have been fine getting an NL only, but I wouldn't have bid that much. That seems crazy. I guess we could talk about him.
Yep, I was just gonna say that the guy that I tied for $63 was Ryan O'Hearn. I was just gonna spend it all on Ryan O'Hearn. I just figured he's the best guy that I can potentially get if I don't get Miller or Mullins, and I didn't get Ryan O'Hearn either. He and Ramon Laureano go to San Diego from Baltimore. Does it change their value at all? Obviously, for NL, you're spending the money. I agree, 63 is kind of crazy for these players, but again, there wasn't anything else really coming over from AL to NL if you missed out on these top few guys.
I mean, that's always the problem with NL or AL. You wait until the trade deadline, and then you're at the mercy as to whoever comes over. It's like, probably in retrospect, you probably would have just been better off bidding on Devers for like $85 or $95 or something. Even though Devers hasn't been great, obviously, but. Is Ryan O'Hearn or Ramon Laureano really better? No, I don't know. I don't think so. Ryan O'Hearn, I mean, his numbers, I think, say a lot. He's got 13 homers, 3 steals, and is hitting .279. It's like, I mean, if it wasn't for the trade deadline, I don't know how much we'd really be talking about him. He's fine for NL only corner man. And he platoons, and he will continue to platoon, I would imagine, because, he's a lefty, and which is fine. They don't really have a straight platoon guy, though. I don't know who they're going to platoon with. Maybe they'll move around guys when it comes to facing a lefty, because they have Gavin Sheets, but he's a lefty too. So I don't really. But no matter what. Whether he stays in a lineup or gets platooned out, he is who he is, really. I mean, he's Ryan O'Hearn. He went from probably, I believe on Park Factors, Camden is one of the best parks for homers and, one of the best parks for runs. Petco's not that. So he's probably going to get hurt a little bit offensively, but he was never really going to be that great anyway. He's like, at the end of the day, he's under 20 homer, under 20 homer, around 5 steals, 265 hitter. It's fine. Ramon Laureano has been hot recently, so that's good. But he's honestly not much better either. he's again, if it wasn't for the fact for the trade deadline, I don't know how much we'd talk about Ramon Laureano either. I wouldn't, if I see a news item come across the screen saying Ramon Laureano here pictured talking to Fernando Tatis Sr., I wouldn't be totally shocked, as I know Laureano has been suspended before for Peds, and I know Fernando Tatis Sr. has a medicine cabinet, we'll say, something like that, maybe. I think Ramon Laureano is fine for NL only. Obviously, he's good for NL only, but for mixed leagues, he's been hot, so I would grab him. I'm fine with him. I don't. He might have less of a platoon than Ryan O'Hearn, so I think Laureano is probably a little bit more valuable out of the two of them. But still, at the end of the day, Laureano has 16 homers, 4 steals, and a 288 average. With fairly neutral luck on the average. Maybe he's more of a 260, 265 hitter, but it's not. He doesn't look that bad. He's got speed, so his BABIP's a little high. But at the end of the day, he's still who he is. He's not that good. He's fine, But I think he's better for real baseball. Padres. I think the Padres made a lot of good moves for real baseball. For fantasy, it's okay.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with pretty much what you said. It's a terrible move for Ryan O'Hearn. Just going off of MLB stat, off their park factors. For lefties, we were looking at Camden, and it is literally the best park for lefties. Home run wise and just general park factor. And, Petco is 4th to last.
Yeah.
It's not good. This year, I will say for this year specifically, since they adjusted the stadium in Baltimore, the park factors for righties is almost the same. So I don't feel like a huge change for Laureano, but Ryan O'Hearn barely had enough power to hit out in Baltimore. Like, this is not a good move for him. I would just probably move on if you were using him at this point.
Yeah, in mixed leagues,
in mixed leagues, exactly. And then of course they also added Nestor Cortez. I'm now just moving into gray. I can't pronounce anything.
My mispronunciations are because of my dialect. All right.
This is technically my second language, if we want to get into it.
So. Technically, I'm from Jersey, so it's my second language too. Okay.
Jersey to LA is a new language. That's fair, Gray. And you balance that very well. Where's anything for Nestor? He's not been very good. So kind of move for ours. I don't even think he got picked up in in-house only, if I'm being honest. Let's move on to the next move, which is Houston. Carlos Correa goes from Minnesota back to Houston. Seems like he's taking over third base. He's going to hit 3 or 4. He has 8 home runs. He's hitting 266, 318, 390 in 96 games. It looks like he might have added a home run if we were playing in Houston all year. But, it's Carlos Correa, right? We know what we're getting despite last year's kind of somewhat revival.
Yeah. He's so overrated for fantasy. It's funny that you even say his revival from last year, 2024. He hit 14 homers and 310. It's like,
It was in 86 games. If he had done that, full season, great. The whole full season, run it out.
That's a great point. If he would have had a full season for the first time in 12 years, he totally would have been great. He could have
been a 22 home run guy like he was when he was 20 years old.
Right. Yeah, no, totally. And listening for trash can bangs. I think Correa is fine if you're AL only, or if you're really struggling at I guess corner now, or MI, or utility maybe, but you have to be struggling. I don't just because he's now in the middle of a better lineup and will play every day, assuming he's healthy. it doesn't make him great for fantasy. He's fine for AL only. I'm sure he was bid on. I did not get him. I actually AL only. I bid aggressively on Ryan McMahon the previous week, and then I bid on the other guy in Houston, who I think is actually more interesting, Jesus Sanchez.
Yes, Jesus Sanchez also joining Houston from Miami. Go ahead. You brought him up. I'll let you go on him.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I've always liked Jesus Sanchez, and he's probably in my head he's better than he is really in reality. So I don't think he's like necessarily that amazing, but you know his name value I think is less than Carlos Correa, and his numbers blow Carlos Correa's away when it comes to for fantasy at least. I mean, Jesus Sanchez has 10 homers and 9 steals. That alone beats Carlos Correa easily. I mean, it's not even close. So yeah, I mean, I think he probably can get acquired for a little bit less maybe than you might think. So in an AL only, that has value. For mixed leagues though, I mean, you know, he doesn't really have power. He doesn't really have speed. He's kind of like, I mean, he's like a poor man's Jeremy Pena. You know, he's got a little bit of everything, but a little bit less than Jeremy Pena, that is. Yeah, I mean, he's okay for mixed leagues. If you're really struggling, I guess, for a fifth outfielder, and you know, he's got a guy you probably want to wait until he gets hot in order to really dig in on him. But yeah, I mean, he's more of an AL only. For AL only, it's totally fine. Again, I don't think we'd necessarily be talking about him if it wasn't for the fact that he got traded. So, you know, there's that.
Yeah, I've always liked Jesus Sanchez. He's one of those StatCast darlings. He destroys the crap out of the ball. It's just straight into the ground or really hard line drives. But while that's solid for real baseball, not always great for our game, unfortunately. If he can get some launch angle, he's basically Teoscar Hernandez, but until he does that, he's Jesus Sanchez, and this does help a little bit from the power perspective, ballpark change, but it's pretty minimal.
Right.
You mentioned Correa. Would you take him or any of Dansby, McLean, Xander Bogaerts, any of those guys?
Carlos Correa or anyone else? I'd probably go for anyone else. But
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'd go Dansby over Carlos Correa. I mean, I don't even know if it's that close, really. Correa is fine Correa is fine if he's hitting well, if he's hot. But yeah, I mean, he's not real. He's overrated.
Yeah, I mean, if Correa hits really well and produces a lot of runs, he's like a good middle infielder.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's talk about we really probably should talk about him first. And this is probably the biggest move left for us, other than bullpen stuff. Seattle gets Eugenio Suarez from Arizona, 36 home runs, 243, 313, 559, 246 BABIP means he might even be a little unlucky, Gray. What do you think about Suarez? Is he, Seattle proof again?
Yeah, I think I think the Seattle thing is going to be interesting to see, because there is a chance that his last year in Seattle was pretty bad. It was not good. And then he struggled a little bit opening with the Diamondbacks last year until about the All-Star break. And then he got hot and he never cooled off. I mean, he went from like last year's All-Star break to the day of his trade really hitting well. Having I think the third most homers in the major leagues behind Judge and Ohtani in that time period. I mean, but Seattle, he wasn't good in Seattle. I mean, he's always stayed on the field. He's been very healthy for his career. He kind of reminds me of Adrian Beltre in that respect. I mean, always 150 games every year. But it was not good in Seattle. His last year in Seattle, 22 homers in 162 games. It's not great. So, and T-Mobile's a really bad park. One of the worst, if not the worst. So for power, I think even Julio Rodriguez would be like a 30-30 guy right now if he was on any other team. The Mariners kind of hurt him. Cal Raleigh has managed to avoid whatever's going on at T-Mobile incredibly. But Eugenio Suarez does have power to hit it out of any park. So it'll be interesting to see if he's able to continue in his new /old park again. His new old, the new adventures of old Eugenio Suarez. He's got the power, but I don't know. He didn't do it previously in Seattle, so it'll be interesting to see because he did have a 49 homer a year when he was with the Reds. Like he didn't just find power in Arizona. He's had power. I don't know. I honestly, I don't think anyone knows really. I don't know if there's any way of saying for sure. My guess is he's going to struggle a little bit because Seattle's a tough park.
It seems to be tough, and we will see. The first series, it's been very limited. It's been 4 games, but it did not go well in his first 4 games back in Seattle. Would you trade him for basically any of the big power hitters like Rooker, Schwarber, those type of guys, or would you keep riding with Suarez?
I would trade him for Schwarber, absolutely. Rooker that's a tough call, but I wouldn't be shocked to see Rooker be better than Eugenio Suarez for the rest of the year. Would I be able to do that? It's apples to apples, really. That would be tough for me to do because the A's lineup is so bad. Even with Kurtz there, Butler's he's been a bit of a struggle this year. They lost their middle power guy of Miguel Andujar. I mean, what do you do without Miguel Andujar? It's like you lost your big guy. I don't know. Rooker and him are a toss up for me, but Schwarber I would do over Eugenio. I don't know. Pete Alonso, I would do Pete Alonso over Eugenio. The other guy who the Mariners traded for, who we went over last week, Josh Naylor, I would go Josh Naylor. Excuse me, I would go Eugenio over Josh Naylor. So that would be kind of my that would be my breaking point right there. I'd probably go Eugenio there. But yeah, I mean, I think he has lost a little bit of value. 2 weeks ago, I wrote a sell about Eugenio Suarez saying he might go to Seattle, and I would sell him now before he went there because the park's not good. So, yeah, unfortunately, I mean, I like Eugenio. I like the Mariners. I just don't love Eugenio in Seattle as much as I liked him where he was.
Yep, I don't like him there for my Perks League team either, Gray. That's not great. I read your article and still traded for him, so that's on me. But it was a trade that completely made sense. Anyways, we're moving on off of my trades. Let's talk about Philly, where they got Jhoan Duran. 51 innings this year. I mean, he's been just spectacular. 193, 113, 25.5% strikeout rate, 8.5% walk rate. It has been a little bit lucky. 287 BABIP is career low. 80.5% left on base, but I mean, he's still been great. Do you trust him in Philly, though, with the curse of Philly closers, Gray?
No, Brad. The curse of Brad Lidge is going to get him. You can't avoid it. I mean, it's impossible to avoid. Duran is going to have one of the worst Septembers of his career. Sorry, man. He was actually going back to bidding with guys coming into the league. He was the top guy for, I think, most of my leagues. I didn't bid on him because I didn't need saves in any of my leagues, but he went for I think he went for the most, which I understand. I mean, he is, all kidding aside, he should be a lights out closer for the Phillies and I would even imagine he has a little bit more value with the Phillies because not only will they have more wins, but I think, Rob Thompson is a lot better about keeping a closer in the ninth inning versus just like, Baldelli, where it's like, oh, I don't know. I guess I'll bring him in the fourth. Let's go. So I think Duran actually gains a little bit of value. Not a ton. I think he is more or less who you think he is. He's a top 3 closer though. Maybe top 4 if I'm forgetting someone, but I know we lost Miller. We have Hader, obviously, Edwin Diaz, and then probably Duran, unless I'm forgetting someone. But yeah, Duran's great. I have no issue with him. If I were bidding on closers and NL only, I would have also bid a lot on him.
Yeah, the people on the player radar above him right now are Andres Munoz, Jeff Hoffman, and Aroldis Chapman, and Robert Suarez. So would you rather have Suarez or Duran rest of season?
I would go Duran.
I agree, just given the competition there. Chapman or Duran?
I would go Duran.
Chapman or Hoffman?
I would go Chapman. But okay. That's close. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a toss up, but yeah, I would go Chapman. Chapman has been better too, for whatever it's worth.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it sounds like you got Duran probably top 3, then top 4 maybe at worst.
Yeah.
Even with the Philly curse, Gray, you're still gonna buy into it. You're just gonna eat it and hope that it goes well. In Minnesota, no Duran. We kind of knew this was probably coming, but who do you think is taking over now that he's gone?
Oh man, what a mess! Baldelli is just terrible. I think the whole bullpen is probably in line for the next save potentially. Gerasimo Ramirez got the save on Sunday. It wouldn't shock me to see him continue to get saves because I think the Twins are a cheap organization and they probably don't want to drive up Cole Sands' arbitration price, and Gerasimo is like whatever to them, so they can use him or someone else gets the next save. It's impossible to say. I think your best bet, if you're really that desperate, is going for the guy who got the last save, which is Gerasimo Ramirez. So just go with him. But that's not to say that it could be someone else.
Yeah, I mean, if you're also chasing and trying to keep your ratios in line, it's probably Cole Sands, and just hope that they accidentally forget and give him a save. But yeah, I mean, your Erasmo Ramirez is there on 1-year deal. It completely makes sense for them just to let him go out there and throw, even though they just brought him up. Why not just bring up a 28-year-old that you've been keeping in the minors and give him the closer role? That makes complete sense. That's great baseball there. Who doesn't want to go pay a ticket and watch that, Gray? Philly, let's keep with Philly though. They also take Harrison Bader from Minnesota. Probably splits with Kepler and Marsh here. Outside of NL only, are you interested in Harrison Bader?
No. I was interested in NL only. I liked how when he first came over, it seemed kind of interesting. Harrison Bader, that is. But then I saw how he played this weekend, and not how he played, but how they played him. And it sounds like a 90s R&B song. He got played. No, I'm saying the playing time now looks a little bit iffy because he looks behind, like you mentioned, he looks behind Marsh or Kepler. So that's not good for, fantasy value, obviously. So NL only at best, probably for now, unless something changes. But yeah, he looks like a lefty only hitter, which is not good. Yeah,
that's not exactly what we need for our game. Even in only league, that's that's probably not usable unless you're out of options, which sometimes you are. But let's talk about another team, Gray. Let's move on to the Yankees. They get David Bednar and Camilo Doval.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about their incredible performance against the Marlins.
So this elite bullpen of Bednar, Doval, and Devin Williams, all who have just been blow up proof. Clearly, Gray. I mean, might as well just call them Teflon. What's your thoughts here, Gray, on this bullpen? It seems like Williams is still there, but what do you think?
For fantasy, I don't think anything's really changed. This was such an obvious thing that was going to backfire. I think at the day of the trade deadline, I wrote about, Bednar coming into the game, and it's like, there's no way this is going to work out well. I mean, he's just like, he struggled in front of 12 fans in Pittsburgh. You think he's going to be able to handle like what goes on in New York? I mean, come on, man. This is a recipe for disaster. With all that said, I think it's still Devin Williams as the closer until something changes. I wouldn't be shocked to see Devin Williams, like if Devin Williams stumbles, I wouldn't be shocked to see them go to Luke Weaver even, because of the familiarity there, where like David Bednar is just like, I don't know. And Duval as well. I wouldn't trust them. I wouldn't personally. I mean, who knows with Aaron Boone, but with all that said, Devin Williams is the closer. So those guys are set up men. And I think they're droppable in most leagues. So that kills, Bednar and Duval's fantasy value. In Pittsburgh, that probably goes Dennis Santana looks like the clear favorite for saves. And then Randy Rodriguez got a save this weekend and was announced as the closer. And his stuff is really good. So I wouldn't be surprised. Like, with only 2 months left, there's not much time for things to like get weird or like Randy Rodriguez could potentially have like top 10 closer value from now to the end of the year, because it's just fluky. Like saves are fluky as it is, and Randy Rodriguez has been great. So yeah, I would grab him in every league. I think he's good. And I think Bednar and Duval are droppable in most mixed leagues. And then in AL only, you sit on them and maybe hope something happens with Devin Williams but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I think Luke Weaver would be who I think should be up next, but they also seem to use him in that firefighter role. So I could see them go with Bednar or Duval, whoever ends up being kind of looks better in a short period. If something goes wrong with Devin Williams or more wrong. And yeah, I agree with Santana and Randy Rodriguez for now. I think Ryan Walker is worth the look.
Yeah. Sorry. Ryan Walker. Yeah, no, definitely. Sorry, I cut you off. Ryan Walker is worth a look in deeper leagues like NL only. But, I was going to say, like, it's like, I don't know how much this really plays into things, but like Bednar and Duval, like they were ninth inning guys, and then you like yank them out, throw them in the middle of a playoff race, and you throw them into the seventh or eighth inning, and it's like, it just feels so short-sighted that like have like like in a lab, if you say like, okay, there's the Yankees have 5 closers, it's like, oh, that sounds good in a lab. But then you go into reality and you have like Jake Bird is in the 4th inning and Duval's in the 6th and Bednar's in the 8th, and it's like, what are we doing, man? Like, it's just like, I feel like sometimes it's better to have like a Jason Adam or a Jeremiah Estrada setting up a closer versus having 5 closers all in the bullpen. I don't know. Anyway, that's not really. It's sort of real baseball versus fantasy. But yeah.
No, I agree. It's a different kind of warm up. It's a different kind of feel that they're used to getting that adrenaline bump, and then all of a sudden it's gone when you get pulled into the sixth inning in the middle of a 1-1 tie. It's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go out here and blow up. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
but yeah,
or just like coming in like, oh, here comes David Bednar. It's the guy on first, and it's the sixth. It's like, oh man, like, and it's Yankee Stadium. Good luck, man. Good luck. Anyway, we'll move on.
Moving on. Let's talk about another closer who got moved, and that is Ryan Helsley. He is off to the Mets. He moves on from St. Louis. Would you hold on to Helsley now? I mean, it's obviously Edwin Diaz's job, right?
Yeah, no, this one hurt because I had Helsley in a few leagues. But you gotta move on, man. I dropped him and I grabbed Phil Matan, and then he got moved to Texas. But I think it's whatchamacallit, Jojo Ramiro seems like the St. Louis closer now. And Helsley is droppable in mixed leagues. The same, whatever was said earlier about Mason Miller, like if you can hold on to Helsley for ratios and strikeouts, then sure, fine. But he's not getting the majority of the saves.
Yeah, and Jojo Romero has been really good as of late. So even if he doesn't get the closer role, he's worth kind of rostering. So with him in the closer role, I mean, he could be as good or better than Helsley was, honestly. The Mets also made a big move, and this was also your big move in the NL CBS League, outbidding me on Cedric Mullins, who moves from Baltimore to the Mets. 15 home runs, 15 stolen bases. He's hitting 227, 305, 425. Park is a big step down, but he's playing every day. Obviously, you thought this was a worthwhile shot to take.
Yeah, I bid Cedric Mullins, in weekly leagues, which is what Tout Wars is. We bid on everyone basically. Obviously, Ryan McMahon was, I think, the previous week, but other than him, everyone was bid on, and I had to group all my players, in order of my bids for top to bottom, everyone who I want. So it's like if you want Mason Miller or Duran or whoever, you put them first, and you rank your bids or whatever. So anyway, Cedric Mullins was my top guy. I think I needed steals, so there was that factor, but I feel like he's the best bat that came over / most likely to play every day. I think he's better than this was also an on-base percentage league, so there's that factor. Not that he's really that great for on base, but he has a 15-15 year. He's hitting 227, so the average is low, but the strikeouts aren't crazy. He's got a 305 on base percentage. I felt like Cedric Mullins was the guy. Not that I wouldn't have taken Laureano. I didn't want O'Hearn just for team reasons. I didn't need him. I really liked Cedric Mullins a lot for this one. For out of all the guys that went to the NL, I thought he had the most value. So yeah, with all that said, again, I don't know if we'd be talking about him if it wasn't a trade deadline. I mean, he is kind of whatever in a lot of ways. I mean, he's a 15-15 guy. I guess about 2 months left of the season. He's got an outside chance for like a 22 season. Deuce is wild. I don't know. Go to Vegas. Don't go with Emmanuel Clase though. just pick and choose who you're going with. I think Cedric Mullins is fine as like a maybe a third or fourth outfielder in an NL only, and in a mixed league. I mean, he's fine for like I guess 15 team mixed league or deeper for a fifth outfielder. He doesn't feel 12 team worthwhile, really. I mean, unless he gets hot. But yeah, I mean, and going from Camden to Metco isn't a great move, just in general. So he's fine though, for a deeper league back end outfielder.
Yeah, the Mets, Mets stadium isn't that bad for home runs, especially for lefties, but again, Camden is like the best lefty stadium you can potentially be in right now. So it's a small downgrade, but basically the same production I would expect. I'm just going to group this next handful of trades here together, Gray. It's all pitchers. I don't feel like much usually changes, but I'll run them off, and then you tell me if we want to discuss anything within these pitcher changes. The Rangers get Merrill Kelly. Tigers get Charlie Morton and Paul Sewald. Toronto gets Shane Bieber and Sir Anthony Dominguez. Boston gets Dustin May and his 7.09 away from Dodger Stadium ERA. They also get Steven Matz, who goes to the bullpen. Griffin Jacks for the Rays, as well as Adrian Hauser. And Milwaukee gets Shelby Miller and Jordan Montgomery. The Reds get Zach Littell. All those pitching changes, anything in particular stick out, Gray, or should we just move on to the next bat?
I like, I think Charlie Morton is, he's kind of interesting for streaming, and he's been decent since I believe May. Like his ERA hasn't been awful. He had a terrible April, and then he sort of calmed down, and he's been okay. Not really 12-team mixed league okay, but 15-team mixed league okay, maybe. Merrill Kelly's been decent. I think Texas is a good park. A little bit better offense around him, I guess. It might be debatable, but Merrill Kelly's okay. Actually, I might take that back. I think Merrill Kelly's offense probably was better in Arizona when he was there. Not that they're better now, because they, depleted everything. I don't know. Shane Bieber might be interesting. I think he's probably a September guy who's going to be for the playoffs. And the rest of them, the Red Sox should be ashamed of themselves. I gave the Dodgers crap for not doing anything. I mean, the Red Sox just made awful moves. Dustin May's he's terrible. I don't care. I don't even care if he's good at he just happens to get lucky or something. I mean, no matter what happens, the move is empirically, it's a terrible move to get Dustin May because he's terrible. He's not good. I'm sorry if Dustin May's listening, but he's not good. And the Red Sox did not make good moves. They didn't do anything really. Shelby Miller's whatever. I mean, he's behind McGill, and Zach Littell is not good. For not in Cincy, not great. Maybe streaming, maybe, but that's about it. I think.
Yeah, I think I agree with almost everything you said. It is a nice move for Merrill Kelly going to basically the most pitcher-friendly park in all of baseball, so that helps. Charlie Morton also kind of moving into that's kind of a better change, at least just looking at Baltimore's park factors this year, going from Baltimore to Detroit. Everything else is pretty much, kind of the same, except for Littell and Cincinnati, and that's probably worse for him. Let's talk about Cincinnati also getting Miguel Andujar and Brian Hayes. Are you interested in either of those guys?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I think the Reds need to go into a self-help group and discuss with some people why they are so attracted to terrible cornermen because they have a real thing for bad cornermen. I don't know why. I can't diagnose them because I am not a professional, but I can see it from the outside looking in and being like, they have a real thing for terrible cornermen from the day from Heimer Candelaria to Miguel Andujar in the 5 years of those moves. It's like every single guy they acquire is just an awful cornerman. I don't know why, but it is. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, Gray. The Cubs, they announced they were going all in, Gray. They were really gonna go for it for the fans. It's been a while since we've really gone for it. They got Willie Castro, Mike Soroka, Andrew Kittredge, and Taylor Rogers. Gray, is that interesting to you in any way, shape, or form? Because it's not interesting to me as a Cubs fan.
I feel kind of silly. On my LinkedIn profile, it says iCal reminder for the Dodgers and the Cubs. And I totally dropped the ball here because I was supposed to remind the Cubs about the trade deadline as well. Oopsie. I don't know. Michael Soroka's like one of those guys that has like interesting peripherals, and he just looks like his ERA is terrible, and you can't trust him. And I wouldn't trust him in Wrigley, especially. None of those. I like Willie Castro. I think is a good real world move. And for fantasies, pretty boring. He's fine because he has a lot of position eligibility, but other than that, it's not really great.
No, it's not. I don't know. I really feel like they could have just let Matt Shaw keep playing at this point. If we weren't going to really do anything, I actually think Taylor Rogers might be the most interesting piece of this just because the bullpen is so bad, Gray, that he might just end up closer by just default because nobody else can not be awful. So that might actually be helpful. The Royals, they went out and got Mike Yastrzemski and Bailey Falter. I mean, if I was mad about the Cubs, I'd be pretty upset if I was a Royals fan.
Yeah. I will say that the Royals, I like their Stephen Kolek, Bailey Falter. They have like they have like one of the best pitching programs. They make their pitchers better. From the Ryan Bergart from the Padres. He's kind of interesting now for streaming for deeper leagues. Obviously not 12-team mixed league, but they do make their pitchers better. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe there might be some streaming options there.
Yeah, there might be some streaming opportunity there, but I do agree that the Kansas City has done a great job with their pitching, both starters and bullpen. They do a good job, but this has just been kind of a more 15-team only leaning show, Gray. Despite it being trade deadline and supposed to be fun and a lot of big names. There was like 3 big names. And then
wait a second. We haven't talked about the Angels yet, please.
All right. I wasn't even going to mention it, but fine. The Angels went and got themselves Oswald Peraza.
Wow.
Who should finally find himself on a bench without a role, but he won't be sent down.
Wow. The Angels always manage to surprise with their brilliant moves. It's just another brilliant move from Perry and Artie in the front office. Just brilliance. I think I'm kind of interested in what the Angels how they figure they're in the they think they're in the playoff they're in the pennant race. And I wouldn't want to break it to them and tell them they're not. I mean, that's not for me to say, but I think they might want to look at the standings because I don't know if they really have a serious shot here. I'll leave it at that. Good luck to the Angels, of course.
Actually, I'll just say it. I don't care if the Angels win at all. That organization doesn't feel like they deserve to win. They've ruined careers of two of the greatest players of this generation. It's just a waste, Gray. I'm not going to wish them wins at this point. I will wish good luck upon these prospects we're about to talk about really quickly because we're already an hour in. Logan Henderson was called up by the Brewers, 77 innings, 3.59 ERA, 1.11 WHIP, 28% strikeout rate, 7.7% walk rate. He was called up earlier this season and has 25 and a third innings in the major so far with a sub-2 ERA and a sub-1 WHIP with a 33% strikeout rate, right, Gray? If you haven't gotten or spent all your money, Logan Henderson's the guy, right?
Yeah, no, I like Logan Henderson a lot. I do think there's a potential here where the Brewers just keep him to 4 to 5.5, 4 to 5 2/3, like somewhere in that range. So the four innings to about 5 2/3 innings, depending on how many pitches he throws. I don't think he's I think they're trying to balance out Jacob Mizraski's innings, and they're doing that by, bringing up Logan Henderson, and they're also trying to manage his innings. So I don't know how many innings we're really going to get from him, but yeah, I mean, he probably would have been, he's good. Earlier in the season, he would have been, a top pickup for as shallowest leagues you can imagine. I think a 12 or even a 10 team mixed league potentially if he came up earlier. But now, because he's not going to be able to throw that many innings, I think you're probably looking at probably a 15 team mixed league guy. But I would pick him up in a 12 team, just to see what you'd get. Just like I would have picked up Chase Burns. I don't think, I think Logan Henderson could be as good as Mezrowski. He is really good. I just don't think he's going to have the innings, to really make a difference this year. So, grab him if you have room, and maybe you'll get a good solid 4 or 5 innings each start, but I wouldn't expect wins. And I don't know if he's even going to be able to go 5 innings.
Yeah, you might be right about that, and we'll talk about some other prospects here in a second. The NL Central's pitching lineup is going to be absolutely ridiculous in a year or two, Gray. There's so many arms in that division right now that are just nasty. Over in Dodgerland, they called up Alex Freeland, 94 games in AAA. He has 12 home runs, 17 stolen bases. He's hitting 253, 377, 421. 22% strikeout rate, 16.6% walk rate. Are you interested in Alex Freeland, Gray?
I mean, yeah, if it's a NL only, I would be interested. Maybe 15 team mixed league. He does have power and speed, which is good, but I wonder, when I see a guy has a 22% strikeout rate in AAA and only hit 253 with a 300 plus BABIP, that gives me some concern that he's making a lot of terrible contact. So I'd try it. He was in the PCL, so the power may not even really be there. Speed is good. He's probably going to be in a platoon. Anyway, long story short, NL only, maybe deeper mixed leagues, but you really got to be probably pretty desperate in a 15-team mixed league to try Alex Freeland.
Yeah, it seems like I don't even know if he's up here for that long, Gray. Max Muncy is on the IL, but it sounds like he could be on for a minimum stay. So as much as I would like to see Alex Freeland get a little bit of runway here, the Dodgers do have a specific goal for the year, and Freeland may or may not be involved in that, although they could probably just let Miguel Rojas go at this point and just save us all a little bit of time. CJ Kayfus called up by the Guardians, 14 home runs, 4 stolen bases. He's hitting 300, 390, 539, 25% strikeout rate, 11.9% walk rate in the minors. He should play most days. Are you interested in CJ Kayfus?
Yeah, I mean, again, probably a 15-team mixed league or deeper, and even in a 15-team mixed league, you probably have to be pretty desperate. His numbers don't look bad though. I'm kind of interested in him. Possibly, if he has the playing time, going into next year, we could see a guy like he could become like Menzard, or even like I was saying in my post today that his minor league numbers look very similar to Josh Naylor's when he was on the Guardians. So yeah, I mean, there could be something here, big picture, but for now, probably AL only, 15-team mixed league. It looks like he has power. And he could hit for a decent average, but I mean, average is fluky over, a final 7 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, it really is. And I don't think his power is like a huge power. So it's kind of one of those only league or really reaching for desperation type of plays. Let's talk about over for the Marlins. We talked about Jesus Sanchez moving on, but they called up Jacob Marcy to take his place. 14 home runs, 47 stolen bases, Gray, 246, 379, 438. He has a sub 20% strikeout rate and a 16% walk rate. Are you interested in those numbers?
Yeah, for speed, 47 steals in AAA is interesting. I think for any league, really, if you need steals. Probably 15-team mixed league or deeper. There's a better chance that the Marlins play him every day than maybe another team might. Like we mentioned, Alex Freeland, the Muncie's coming back, and their Dodgers are a better team, so there is a chance that Freeland goes to the bench or gets sent down. Whereas like a guy like Marcy, Marlins have a better chance of playing him, and he's got speed. So yeah, I mean speed plays no matter what. I do think, there's a chance Marcy could hit maybe 190 with speed. So, I mean, he's not gonna blow you away. His power looks also pretty fluky, and I don't know how much to believe it. But the speed, you can't really fake speed. So there's a chance here he could steal some bags. So if you need that.
Yep, I agree, Gray. Any names that you want to give the people? It looks like August 15th is the date that has been kind of set where teams can call up their prospects and not lose any service time for the year. Is there any names you're looking forward to and maybe getting ahead of the pickups if you can? I know in some of our leagues we can't get them until they actually get called up and play, but for those looking forward to that date, they can grab them now. Who are some names you would look for?
I think JJ Weatherholt is probably the hottest name for right now. I think there's, and for good reason too. I mean, he's not striking out at all in the minors. He's hitting for power, stealing bags, hitting for a good average. So JJ Weatherholt would probably be the one guy I'd really be looking at. Maybe Bryce Eldridge. I liked him a lot earlier in the year. I think then he had an injury, but the Giants aren't really playing for anything. So if it's possible, if he's healthy, it's possible he gets called up. I wouldn't be shocked. Other than that, I don't know. Maybe Dylan Beavers supposedly was getting called up like 3 days ago, and then that turned out to be misinformation, and he wasn't called up. But the Orioles never call up anyone, so who knows? I don't know. The Orioles love to keep their guys in the minors. They're trying. Orioles are going for a Triple A World Series. Okay, just leave them alone.
Yeah, Gray. I mean, the Cardinals definitely haven't missed on any can't miss any prospects recent memory that you or me might have bought into. That definitely hasn't happened in recent memory.
That is a thing that has never happened. They have never missed on anyone other than everyone.
Other than everybody that's come up recently. Yeah, it's been fun, Gray.
Right. If JJ Weatherholt is anywhere near as good as Mason Wynn, watch out. Am I right? Oh, no, seriously. If he's as good as Jordan Walker, okay, we're ready now.
So all right, great. I got some other names I'll throw out real quick. I think you said Sam Abasalo already. Chase DeLauder, Justin Crawford. For the Cubs, Jonathan Long, Owen Casey. They both had a really nice season. Yoenis Morales. There's some names for you. Go check out the Itches articles. He's always letting you know who he thinks might come up, and he has a better feel for that than any of us, which is why he writes the prospect articles for Razzball. Let's move on to the Sagnoff that we maybe haven't covered yet, Gray. The Dodgers. Nobody can stay healthy. So who do you want now?
I think Dave Roberts wants Blake Trinan to be the closer. I don't know if he's gonna be. Alex Vesia has probably looked the best. Unfortunately, he's a lefty, which Dave Roberts seems to be against. I would probably go Blake Trinan if I was really desperate for saves. Alex Vesia maybe, but yeah, no one's been good really, other than Vesia, and Vesia's a lefty that Dave Roberts brings in randomly in the seventh inning in some games. So yeah, I don't know. I'd say Blake Trinan, but it's not great. Again, they could have went out and got a guy. They could have went out this trade deadline and got someone. I don't know. Ryan Helsley was right there. They could have got him.
They could have got him. It would have been a nice little addition. But, they also have an amazing bullpen. I understand why they didn't add to the bullpen specifically. But you're right, Gray. I don't know why it's not Vesia. Maybe the fact that they have 3 other lefties in the bullpen will calm things there, and they'll let him finally get his opportunity at the role. But they have been very reluctant to do that so far. So, yeah, I think Trinan's probably it. And honestly, I could see them going with Alexis Diaz next, earned or not, just because he has the traditional closer role. And that's, for whatever reason, the way the Dodgers go, even though money's not a thing and they could just run up whoever they want. Arbitration, it doesn't matter. They're going to go with Trinan and probably Alexis Diaz. Over in Baltimore, Felix is on the IL. He's been on the IL. Sir Anthony's gone. Who else do you want here in Baltimore?
No one.
Okay.
I mean, I guess Cano is probably my best guess. Even though Corbin Martin, I guess, got the last. I guess he got the first and only maybe post Felix save. But yeah, I don't know. Akin looks terrible. I believe he coughed up some runs yesterday, and yeah, I would say Cano if you're really desperate, but no one really. I mean, you should just I think you're better off trying to get a good setup man behind a better closer on a good team. Shelby Miller is more interesting to me than a closer on the Orioles.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. I understand because I've chased down the every possible save angle before, but yeah, it's not a good situation there in Baltimore. There's not, there's not great options. I mean, the people who pitched well aren't even really in this conversation. Other than Corbin Martin, he's actually been pretty solid. So if it's him, I don't actually mind rostering him. But Baltimore's also kind of cashing it in at this point. How about Detroit? Will Vest is kind of had the role, but Kyle Finnegan got a save this weekend. What's your thought on the Detroit situation?
I think and we didn't talk about it during the trade thing, but yeah, Kyle Finnegan came over as the closer. I think he's the closer. I was saying I thought Finnegan was going to become the closer on the Tigers, and people were saying it was going to be Vest, and Vest would stay the closer, but I just don't see it. I mean, I think Finnegan is just like he doesn't do anything else except close. I feel like that's what he does. So that would be my guess, that Finnegan would continue to be the closer there. And, unless he blows up and is terrible, obviously, then things could change because he's not like that good. So it's not like, I don't have that much confidence in him, but I think Kyle Finnegan is the closer and Will Vest is the setup man.
Yeah, how about the Rangers, Gray? They're a hot mess. Anybody you want there?
I think because Phil Maton got traded for and is also a righty. I think that's gonna, like, Bochy is gonna see that he's a righty, and at some point it's gonna click in his head, and he's gonna be like, oh, he should be the closer, or and Garcia becomes the setup man. I think that's what's gonna happen. I don't think that's happened yet, but I do think that could happen. So right now I think it's Garcia, but I think Phil Maton's not a terrible person to handcuff. I think, like if you were looking at getting Dodger saves or getting Orioles saves or stashing Phil Maton, I think Maton's probably the way to go there because I do think he's probably going to be getting saved soon.
Yeah, I agree. And also that Robert Garcia had a back spasm on Saturday. So if he has to miss some time, I do believe Maton is up next. Over in Miami, they did not trade anyone, Gray, out of the bullpen. So last week I asked you who you want, and we basically said we'll wait till this week. So we waited a week, Gray. Who do you want now?
It looks like Foucher is the closer. I don't know why he became the closer, and Ronnie Henriquez lost the job, but it seems like he did. It seems like Foucher is the closer, so that's the way I would go. I wouldn't bother, rostering two of them. That's unless you're like in an NL only league. So yeah, I would go Foucher.
Yep, I agree. How would you give the people some waiver wire bats? I'll give them some streamers, and we will get out of here, Gray.
Okay, so Andrew Vaughn has been rejuvenated since he left Chicago White Sox organization, as anyone would. Louis Robert can only dream about that. Leovor Pagoro, Pirates shortstop, had a huge game, and then he hit another homer. He had a great series in Colorado. So we'll see if it continues outside of Colorado. But he did have a big one. Lennon Sosa and Colson Montgomery are like, we don't need to leave the White Sox to be good. So to you, Andrew Vaughn. Ramon Laureano has, not only was he traded, but he's also been very hot, as we mentioned. Speaking of hot, warming in the Barnable. Whoever Warning Barnable is, he's been hot. Spencer Horwitz was also in Coors, but had a great series in Coors, for whatever that's worth. Wenzel Perez was great this past weekend. He's been hot. Trent Grisham, Blake Perkins. I think he had a couple homers this past week. He's been hot. Eli White had a good series. Had a good game in Tennessee, I believe, the Speedway. But yeah, that might be nothing. I actually ignore what I just said about Eli White. Let's see who else has been hot. Brooks Lee was hot. Dominic Smith's been hot. Will Benson's been hot. Tyler Freeman, Matt Wallner, Kyle Manzardo, Romy Gonzalez, and finally, my favorite, Giancarlo Stanton. Oh, yeah. He's been hot.
Nice throwback name there, Gray. That's it's giving me 2008 feels. That's great. Jeffrey Springs at Washington, Luis Severino at Washington, at Baltimore, Aaron Svalle versus Cleveland, Michael Wacha at Boston, Brady Singer at Pittsburgh, Cal Quantrill versus Miami and at Atlanta, Jacob Lopez at Washington, and Charlie Morton versus the Angels. If you have specific questions, you can find us on Twitter. I am at RazBeaton. Gray is at Razzball. You can find us on youtube.com/Razzball Fantasy or in the comments section on Razzball.com. Hopefully your lineups are perfect and you win your matchups across the board this week. And I will talk to you later. See you, Gray.
Great.